Earth, fire, air, water.
They're inside. All right. There you guys go. Okay, there you have it. That was the latest episode, second to last episode of The Legend of Korra. Zelda Williams doing the goddamn thing, man. I am so excited to see how this all ends next week. So about this particular episode and just about the season in general, as I've been saying, with this show, like, I personally like the development of this show more than Avatar, just because I feel like it works for me. It speaks to me, and it deals with like more real world politics, opposed to in today's 22nd century, compared to what was going on back in the 19th century or so with colonization and villages, and where essentially a lot of Avatar, like the first settlers type ideals, very primal, primitive type living. And I'm not talking about caveman shit type of stuff. No, I'm just talking about the earlier stuff that prior to the Industrial Revolution, where I feel the Legend of Korra focuses more on post-industrial revolution type feelings, whereas Avatar was focusing a lot more on, I'd say, the 1500. I want to say the 1500s, 1600s or so. I don't know. Anyways, I don't claim to be a historian or a mathematician. No, I'm just a guy that watches stuff. Now, what I was liking about this series in general, last couple of seasons, is that the show has always been about idealists, I think. And idealists versus extremists, and it was kind of interesting to see how they brought back some of the older characters. I do not remember her goddamn name, but the dad from the evil dad from the first season. So it's kind of cool to see him. I didn't think that was so necessary for him to stay there that half a second extra, like whatever. He could have ejected as well, and that still would have done the same situation. But it's okay. They got this shit done. They handled it. But what I thought was interesting, especially where when you're balancing, so the first big bad, I can't even remember from the first season, was, I guess, Asami's father. The second one was the uncle, Korra's uncle from the Water Tribe. And but it really started to get more interesting when we got into what's his name, he had a beard, then he went bald. His name isn't Zangief, and I feel so bad that I'm forgetting, but it's been quite a while since I was watching season 3. Zaire, and Zaire and Kuvira both are like idealists with certain ideas of how they want to do things. And Spirit Dude in season 2 was an extremist, and but he was more of a narcissistic type of dude, whereas Zaire and Kuvira, we now start to see Kuvira's real side of not even just a zealot, just obsessed with herself and power, right? And but what I like about both of them, I'm talking about Zaire and Kuvira, is just how much real sense they were making when stating their case. And I think that's the idea of what makes a very good modern villain, is just like Thanos, just like Daenerys Targaryen of Game of Thrones. Everybody, and it's unfair to say that Dany Daenerys is a villain, but that's a different situation. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But everybody thinks that they're the hero until they become the villain. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I think that's exactly what what's happening with all of these cats is they all had particular methods of doing things that were harsh, but there are people that will cheer her on, or will cheer them on, and I think that's what's going on with Kuvira. But now we start to see the extremes, and it's actually really interesting to me in comparison with Daenerys Targaryen and Kuvira, where they both were conquerors essentially, and on particular sides of the world they were hailed as heroes and saviors and liberators, great liberators, right? Breaker of chains. That's really unique, interesting actually. And then once they got what they wanted, they went too much. They went psycho, and like they wanted it all basically, and they wouldn't stop. And then that's when they became a legit threat afterwards. So it's kind of interesting when talking about. I might even do a conversation on that with Kuvira and Daenerys Targaryen when the book I think comes out. I'm talking about the Game of Thrones book. How many years that takes, because I know there's some differences, and people argue with each other about that. But that'd be an interesting thought. Like that thought process works really well, and that's what I like about Korra, is that it lets me have these deep analytical discussions, which you couldn't. I don't think we could do. I think with Avatar was just a little more straightforward, but I'm loving what we got here. So one more episode to go, guys. Wow, over 5 hours of bonus commentary. Okay, bonus features. I might have to check that out. So I was thinking about it while I was watching this, and what to do for YouTube. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, now you can see. I think what I was thinking about doing here is I will go ahead and open up since it's been a Patreon exclusive for about a year now, I'll open up the first episodes of each season. So season 1, which I was doing with Callie for a while, and then season 2, season 3, and season 4. We'll open that all up so you guys can get a nice sample, a nice trial of how things have progressed and how the full reactions have gone, as we've been having a fun time on Patreon. But I would love to see more people get involved with this. And then in regards, and you know, I keep on reiterating this over and over and over, but I unfortunately have to keep on reminding people that Viacom is fucking bullshit, and just gives no way whatever, no fucks to give in terms of getting these videos on YouTube. And it was quite a struggle. That was a 2-year struggle for Avatar to at least finish Avatar on YouTube, and that's just not something I can afford. 1, can afford for editors, and 2, afford for time to be going through with Legend of Korra. So we just have to go a different direction, because that is what it is with Viacom. So it definitely, if there was any other way I could figure it out, I know other channels are able to do it. I don't know why I cannot do it on my channel. Maybe ducking the audio. I don't know. But there's also the matter that I have of there's only so much you can do with chopping things up until the quality of the video itself becomes completely distorted, and it's not nice, not the kind of quality I want to put on the channel, not the kind of stuff I want to be showcasing to people worldwide. So that's also another thing. So here we go. That's why you're getting just a review now on YouTube after so long, but I did want to update everybody on YouTube as to what was going on with Legend of Korra, as I just finally finished the ridiculous redirect type format with Avatar, and I mentioned that I was going to look into doing Legend of Korra, but as you can see, it did not work out on YouTube. Alright, till next time, guys. See you next week on Patreon as an exclusive for the final episode of The Legend of Korra. And I cannot wait. Take care, guys.